Hi there, this is reading Celtic Ogham reading 846 for you, D. Thank you very much for emailing me and asking me to do a reading for you. I'll spend most of the time on these ones here, but to give it some context and stuff, we'll start here and work our way around. Now, you asked me specifically about what's the likelihood of you having a baby and also your photography business. So we can look here at these Oghams up to the next 12 months or so. So let's have a look and see what we come up with. Now, this is the Ogham stave that themes your reading, and this is Hawthorn or Huath. Now, this talks about obstacles. It's about things not always going according to plan. It's about things taking longer than they should to happen. It's about things going wrong. It's about money issues. It's, you know, the budget not always stretching as far as it could. It's about things breaking. It's about car breakdowns. It's about things, you know, being a real pain in the proverbial. But there is some good news with Hawthorn, though, in that if you consider the hawthorn tree, and let's pretend there's actually a hawthorn tree sitting there. That hawthorn tree is full of thorns and it's quite an aggressive kind of tree. So if you're here, if you're standing here on this side of hawthorn and the goal that you want to achieve is over here, you know, the outcome that you want, the goal that you want is over here. If you try and walk straight through the hawthorn tree, you're going to get ripped to shreds by the thorns, okay? So Hawthorn doesn't say that things don't happen, that you won't get your outcome. It just says that what you actually have to do is walk around the hawthorn tree to reach your goal over there. You have to find plan B. You have to find an alternative route to get there. You have to find an alternative way to do things. And so for you, particularly for the last couple of years or so, it's always been about, oh, flippin' heck, that didn't work. Let's find another way to make things work. That's what Hawthorn is all about, okay? Now, over here, these three staves here are about the last 12 months or so, and they're themed with this one here, which is Gort or Ivy. Gort is it's not a bad Ogham stave to have there. It's about survival, you know, and that has negative concepts, in other words, of, oh my God, it's just such hard work. And the last 12 months or so for you has been hard work. It has been difficult. But the flip side to that is that you've survived. You've come out after the last 12 months, or a couple of years, in fact, longer than that. And yeah, it's been a struggle. Yes, it's been blinking hard work, but you've survived. And that's because you're resourceful. And think about Hawthorn here. In order to have, in order to reach those goals that you've wanted, you've found alternative ways. You've found different routes. You've found plan B, if you like. You found different ways to achieve things, and you've achieved things. You have achieved things. So whilst the term survival for Gort, you know, has that negative kind of stuff, you forget to pat yourself on the back for the stuff that you have achieved. Here we have Elder or Ruas, and traditionally he's a little bit about regret. And Gorse is about not being able to plan. So what I can see here is that last 12 months has been really troubling for you. It's been a bit about firefighting because, you know, things have often gone wrong when they shouldn't have done, and so your plans have fallen by the wayside because you've just had to cope with what's gone wrong that day or that month or that week or whatever. So it's been a bit of a struggle in the last year or so. This one sitting in the middle here is Elder or Fian. This talks about what's happening a little bit more for you now, and it's about giving and receiving advice. Now, in terms of the photography business that you talked about, I don't know what the name of that is, but I keep getting the sense of chasing, of in the forest and people hunting things. So I'm not quite sure what that means, but anyway. And what's coming through here in terms of the photography business is that it's really, really important that you look again at the business plan for the business. There's nothing wrong with it, but it just needs to be updated a bit more. you need to really think about what the goals of the business are. What do you want out of that business? And we're not just talking about money here, but we're talking about who are your customers? Who actually are your customers? Who are the range of customers that you want to work with? And it's not enough just to say, well, I want to photograph people, or I want to photograph animals, or I want to photograph plants, or more specific. Who is your target market? And you need to look at your business plan again and really nail that down a bit more. That's really what that's saying. Now, over here, these are the Ogham staves that we want to look at, because these look at the next 12 months for you. And that's themed for you by Sail or Willow. And I'm really pleased actually to see Coral or Hazel under here. They don't often come out together. Sail or Willow is about femininity. It's about flexibility, but it's also about magic and about intuition. Those feminine skills of intuition. And it asks you to not be relying so much on logic this coming year, but focus on what your body tells you. Focus on what your soul tells you. Listen to your body. You don't always listen to your intuition. Really, really important that you listen to your intuition a little bit more. And I'll just talk about these briefly, and then we'll pull it all together. This one sitting over the top is Rowan. Or Lewis, and Rowan is very much about protection. Now, when we talk here about protection, I'm not talking about psychic protection necessarily, but I'm talking about it's very important for you in the coming 12 months to protect your health, to protect your diet. You need to think more about what you are eating. They're telling me that you try really hard with your diet, with what you eat, but you don't always adhere to what you should eat, and you little things get in there that shouldn't be getting in there. They're asking you, please, to think about all the refined sugar that might be in your diet and pull that out of your diet. They're asking you also to think about the foods that might not be supporting you. And that might not necessarily be takeaway foods, but if you have any allergies or intolerances, you need to get those looked at. So this is very much about looking after your health. It's about getting a little bit more exercise in there as well. And that may need to be gentle exercise, perhaps swimming or gentle bit of walking or stuff. But it's about getting some exercise in there as well, and balancing your lifestyle so that it's not all about work, but that it's about spiritual health, me time, lots of balance in there. And then underneath that we have Coral or Hazel. Now, again, this is similar to Sail or Willow, but Coral or Hazel is about that internal dialogue that you have with yourself. It's about the words that you say to yourself. It's about intuition. It's about core gut instinct. It's also about your own intelligence, and you don't always listen to what, as I mentioned before, you don't always listen to what your body and your soul tells you. You write that off sometimes because you think that logic is more important, or what other people tell you is more important, or what the medical profession tells you is more important. These two together are saying very, very loudly that you need to listen to your own intuition this coming year, okay? And that talks also about business. So if you have a customer comes to you and wants you to do some photographic work, and there's an uneasiness about that, walk away. Walk away. There are other customers, okay? I just use that as an example. And then this one here is you or Idaho, and this is about change, but it's about change that you instigate, that you create, that you develop. It's about also a new way of looking at life. And again, he's telling me very strongly that this is around your health and about your well-being. And when we put all these together, what I'm hearing very, very strongly, massive avalanche of this, is that in order for you to, as a couple, to get pregnant, it's very important that the both of you look again at your health. not just you but also your partner. So your partner, for instance, might want to also think about their health, what they're eating, their exercise, what they're exposed to at work, you know, any toxins, that kind of stuff, but also about perhaps taking some zinc supplements to support sperm development as well. For both of you, very, very much about looking at what you're eating, about looking at your exercise. They're asking me to tell you that perhaps the both of you can exercise together. So once every day, when you finish work and you've just before you have dinner or just after you have dinner, that the both of you go for a walk. Half an hour walk together, hold hands, use that time, that half an hour, as exercise time, but as time that you can communicate with one another, share with one another what happened through the day, and you know, and how your day went. So you're getting the exercise that you may need, but you're also getting an opportunity for just couple time together. They're telling me that diet and health stuff for the both of you in this coming year is incredibly important. They're also telling me, I'm afraid, that inside the next 12 months there is no baby, but that, and I'm really sorry, that I know that's not what you want to hear, but I need to be, for ethical reasons, I need to be quite honest with you. But they are telling me that this is a year when you absolutely make the decision, because here it is here, that there will be no more fluffing around, that your health for both of you is really important, and that you get absolutely stuck into a really good healthy regime of food and of exercise and of good life balance. And it's that is the really good platform in 2014 and beyond, where you can begin to work more positively towards the development of a pregnancy. In terms of the photographic business, what they're saying as well is that, again, I mentioned this before, really important that you go back to basics in this 12 months. Look again at your business plan. What does it say? Who are you targeting? What is the cash flow going to be for the business? What are the actual outcomes that you want? What's the style of photography that you want to deliver? And you need to focus on that a little bit more as well. What's your marketing plan? And they're telling me that you don't have a detailed marketing plan, and that needs to be much more precise, much more specific, so that you can reach the people that you want to work with in terms of photography. They're also telling me to asking me to tell you to think about the options for partnership in photography. And we're not talking about here having another photographer work with you, but what are the other businesses that you can partner with as a photographer. So for instance, if you want to photograph animals, let's say, can you put up posters in the local veterinary practices of pictures of dogs with their owners, and so that you can focus on that and advertise your skills as a pet portrait photographer? Or if for you it's about photographing babies, are there local play groups where you can put up posters and stuff as well? So it's about thinking about marketing, but thinking about the partnerships that you can put together as well. Now, your Druid Animal Oracle card is the crane, or core. And crane is actually a really important Druid animal. He's about outcomes as well. So he's about planting seeds. So there's your marketing, planting marketing seeds for getting a good outcome in terms of business. He's all about reward and harvest for all of the hard work and the effort that you put in. He's about being deliberate and cautious. He's very much about making sure that you've got the I's dotted and the T's crossed. So there's your business plan stuff again. He's about persistence. He's about patience. And if you think about crane, he's very patient. He just kind of stands there. He waits for his prey to swim underneath, and then he darts in and gets it. So he's about persistence and patience, and he keeps his eye on his goals. so that he knows what he's working towards. So for you, really important that you have that business plan organised, because that's the goal that you need to use as your motivator that keeps you focused on what you want to do. Crane is also about journeying into deeper spiritual pathways, and I talked here about your Cole and Hazel and how they work together. Sale, how they work together as a kind of spiritual gift for you, a psychic gift for you. Really important that you focus on that and develop that in the coming year ahead. And Crane supports that very much as well. Find someone that you can use as a mentor, as a teacher that can help you develop some of those spiritual gifts. The photography business is going to be quite slow starting off for you, very, very slow, until you've got that business plan really clearly sorted and your marketing plan very clearly organised. Your Celtic birth tree is Rowan Lewis, and this is a really good tree. It's a magical tree. And they used to plant rowans near doors and gates to ward off evil and protect, the people that were living in the house. They're also the guard to the spirit world as well. So you've got an awful lot of trees coming through talking about your psychic gifts and your spiritual gifts. Rowan people tend to be really resourceful and they think outside the square. Remember we talked about Hawthorn and how you have to be resourceful and go around to get to the goals. Well, that's Rowan as well. They're very resourceful. They think about things from different viewpoints. They're strong supporters of humanitarian rights. They tend to be quite spiritual people. They hold really high ethics and ideals and morals. But they tend to be a little bit impatient. They embrace change and they tend to get a little bit bored with routine. They're creative. Photographers have to be creative. So, that's your manifestation of creativity. They're really artistic. They're high thinkers. And sometimes other people tend to think of them as being a little bit aloof. And that's not necessarily because they are, but because they're thinking more creatively. They're thinking outside the box. Your Celtic birth deity is Brigid. She's very much about the smithcraft, about crafting, about artistry, but she's also very strong and a very strong supporter of the home and hearth. I really encourage you to have a good look at Brigid, Bridget, Bride. She has those kind of names. And look at her. She may be a really good spiritual mentor for you in the coming 12 months. And your Celtic birth animal, your totem animal, I guess for the want of a better phrase, is dragon. And dragon has, again, mystical aspect to them, action. And so again, I would encourage you to go and Google dragon and see what you can find about dragon, and perhaps put dragon images around the house to remind you of the strength of dragon. So I hope that is helpful for you and gives you some more ideas for the coming year ahead and gives you some motivation.